So what we're going to talk about today is basically how to use Tic Tacs and Lego to create a winning sales funnel. And we're going to, right now, you've probably got a certain understanding of a sales funnel. By the time we finish this afternoon, what the aim is and what the objective is to basically have sketched out, maybe a sales funnel or two that you can actually go into plan and put into test. So the first session, we're going to be looking at, what are those sales funnels, how do sales funnels work, using Tic Tacs and Lego. And then in the second session, we're going to be a bit more practical, and we're going to be deep diving into individual businesses so we can see how it actually applies in a real world sort of situation. So I'm just going to hand out some funnels. Yeah, if you can help, that'd be awesome. And some Tic Tacs. How many Tic Tacs have we got? 6, 9, 10. Yeah, so we'll just spread them out evenly amongst the tables. There's a few there, and we'll get some more sales funnels. It's maybe, 3 funnels on each table. And we've got some blue tack here as well. We're going to use blue tack. So, what's that? Yeah. However, I don't think it'll be one funnel each, but it'll probably be just 2 or 3 on each table. I'll throw it on there. We're back to craft class. Got a couple of funnels in there. Okay. Now you're probably wondering. You're probably wondering why we're handing out Tic Tacs and all of that sort of thing. So what I'd like you to do is grab a Tic Tac and actually drop it into the funnel, and just notice what happens if you just grab the Tic Tac and you drop it into the funnel. Yeah. So drop it into the funnel and just experience what that feels like when you drop it into the funnel. So what happens when we drop the Tic Tac into the funnel? It pops out. It comes out the other end. It's perfect, isn't it? So it goes in one end and it pops out the other end. So now what I'd like to do is we want to grab some blue tack. Okay, so we want to grab some blue tack and put the blue tack sort of around the funnel. So just sort of drop it around the funnel. You can even put it in little bits and put it on the funnel. No, not on the end, just on the inside. Put the blue tack in there, and then once you've got it in there, drop the Tic Tacs and just stick them to the blue tack. So just stick them to the blue tack, yeah. And don't eat these blue tacks. Yeah, they're probably not good ones to eat. Yeah. As you're sticking them there, is there anything you notice when you put a Tic Tac on? Who notices when you put a Tic Tac on the blue tack that it doesn't actually come out the other end? That's so fascinating. This is definitely the advanced class. So you put it on, it doesn't come out the other end. So what we're seeing here, and if you put different bits of blue tack on and different Tic Tacs all around it, what you'll notice is that think of the Tic Tac as a lead. Now what we want to have happen is what happened in the first instance. We want that actual Tic Tac to just go in and come out. But who's noticed that a lot of leads, not all leads turn into sales, so not all Tic Tacs do Not all leads do what that tic tac did the first time. And that often the tic tacs get stuck on the side, and they don't actually flow through. So this is like this. You've probably heard a lot of the talk about sales funnels and all that sort of thing, but this is the best way I can see to describe a sales funnel. And it's not necessarily, it doesn't need to necessarily be an internet marketing thing where it comes in. My first sales funnel, I started my business with about $18, which I got on credit. I ran a classified ad in the newspaper, and it said, "Marketing genius, proven results." It wasn't actually true at the time, but what it did, it got me a client. And the funnel was classified ad, phone call, meeting, sale. And that was it. Do you know what I mean? So, but if you're like most people in business today, what you've probably noticed is that, selling has become harder. Has anyone noticed that? Like over the last probably 10, 15 years, there's probably more competition, there's more options for people, that sort of thing, than there was, was years and years ago. So that's what's happened. And I can remember a time when you could put an ad up on Google, you could send people to a sales page, you could get the ads cheap enough that you could send people to a sales page and you could actually convert that lead at a profit. And you could make money. Google AdWords sales page. Whereas now, ad costs has risen, competition has risen, and it's harder to turn those leads into a sales. As a result, everyone's talking about marketing funnels. And that's basically the history of it as I see it. Now, as we're going down the funnel, if you can imagine, those tic tacs and they're all stuck in different pieces, why do people get stuck? Like, why don't they all just drop in? Distraction? Lose interest? Lack of follow-up? Offer wasn't compelling enough? Yep. So they missed the mark? Yep. Excellent. So there's a number of reasons why people are actually not going to that stage and popping out of that funnel. And essentially, there's a number of things that our prospects need to believe to go from here to here. What does your prospect need to believe? So let's say I'm going to sell my house and I need to choose a real estate agent. What do I need to believe in order to trust this real estate agent over, let's say, another real estate agent? So best price. Yeah. Results. So social proof. So if we say social proof. It's best prices, results, social proof. Yeah, they're three things. And there might be a few more things if we went down and we go, what do they actually need to believe? So now, what I want you to do next, just take a few minutes, grab your pen, grab your paper, snack on a Tic Tac if you want to, and just write down, what do people need to believe in order to go from the top of the funnel to pop out the other end? What is it exactly that they need to believe to go through that whole process as smoothly as possible? What was the main, or does anyone want to volunteer and just walk us through what people need to believe for their industry in order to buy, to go from a cold lead who's never heard of you to actually becoming a customer? Trust? Yep. Perceived value. Yep.
That value, that they're getting value for money. Now that could be either price or cost or quality, and it will depend on the individual person as to what their preference is. They might want cost over quality or vice versa. So you've got to tick that box for what they're looking for.
For what they're looking for. Yeah, no, definitely. And we'll talk about later as well how there's some, when you get more sophisticated with the funnels, where you can actually have different messages for different markets. So yeah, no, that's good. Sorry, no, you go.
Be the right person or product for their need at the time.
For their need? Yeah, no, definitely. So they need to believe, yep, that you can solve their problems. Yes.
We had a bit of an interesting conversation because the product that we're selling is delivered by students and young people, and so in my head I'm sort of thinking, people just need to get the warm and fuzzies and know that they're helping a young person. But when you're talking to business people go, well, that's nice, and I really like the idea, and I go, that's awesome what you're doing for the young people. And I hope everyone else supports it, but I wouldn't unless I knew that they were going to be able to deliver, because I wouldn't trust them and I wouldn't, So so it was interesting because I was kind of going, well, if they see some results that we've done before and they get the warm and fuzzies, that'd be enough. But from a business person's perspective, they like the warm and fuzzy and they go, wow, that's really great. I hope we give the students some good opportunities and you should support that. But it's not for me. So yeah.
Yes. So what do you do? What sort of...
So it's Digital Business Hub, and it's we take young people and disadvantaged people and at-risk youth, and we teach them how to do social marketing and build websites.
Oh, wow.
And then the business owners actually pay to have their social media managed or their website built, and I mentor the students who do it for the businesses.
Oh,
So
wow.
in my head, I'm like, I'm the one who goes, I love helping the students, so I love seeing the students light up, and but the business who is paying for the service, from their point of view, it's nice to have the warm and fuzzies, but they also need to see the outcome.
Okay, so as business people, if we look at this, we've just heard, sorry, what was your name?
Francine.
What Francine said. So we've just heard what Francine said. What would you need to believe in order to use Francine's service? Students can produce the results that you're looking for. Yep. Anyone else?
It's going to be a level of quality to what you're actually committing to.
Yes. Level of quality. Yep. Anyone else? The risk of a stuff up. Yep. So they're not going to stuff up and cause the risks. Yep. So what we've just heard here could be incorporated into your funnels in a very simple way. They opt in for the lead magnet, which Steve was talking about. Steve was just talking about, and you have free emails. Why we won't stuff up, is one. Why we'll get you better results than someone else. How we get better results. You have social proof with testimonials. Like if we you look up here, of this person who's using them and has doubled their business in 12 months or whatever. So we walk them through that process. And what did we just experience here? We experienced actually diving into our customer's brain. Because so far, when we go through that exercise, we get some good insights. Who got some interesting insights just out of going, well, what does my customer need to believe? If you want to take this to a deeper level, layers of the onion. So we've sort of unpeeled the first layer. If we want to go to the deeper level, who sent a questionnaire out to their customers, a good questionnaire, in the last year or two? We've got 1, 2. Okay, when you do that, I guarantee light bulb moments, if you do it right, will go off in your head. Because you're going to get even better distinctions than what you've got now if you send out a questionnaire, if you've got an email list or whatever, and they reply back. Years ago, I did a product launch, and I followed like the typical product launch formula sort of thing, and cookie cutted it and sent it out to my email list. And it didn't do that great. We made some sales, but it didn't meet expectations. The next thing I did a product launch for a client, a fairly large client. They had a big email list and all that sort of thing. And I painstakingly researched and delved into all the comments. There was a lot of comments, and we broke it down. We found out exactly what they needed, and I based the product launch off those questions. That launch brought in almost $500,000 worth of sales. Okay, so when you go through that process, it's incredible what you can achieve, because you're hitting people like bang. You know exactly what their problem is. If I know what your sore spot is, and I can start my message off by offering a free report on something like super specific, like if I know that you've got like an in-ground toenail that's causing you pain, and I say to you, the one trick that makes in-ground toenails disappear in 7 minutes works almost every time. Who's going to want to pick up that free report? What about if I say, this 7 ways to be healthier? Okay? It doesn't grab your attention, right? So, and that's a little tip when you're doing those lead magnets. Don't go for broad. Don't go for like a 200-page book or something like that. Go for like specific niche. And there's 2 benefits to that. One, it takes a heck of a lot less work, because you might be able to summarize it all in 1 page. So that's one thing that it does. And 2, it's going to get a better result. Because what we want, everyone wants the magic formula. Quick, easy, done. Do you know what I mean? So if you can show me how to remove my in-ground toenail, I am like sold. I'm there. So the closer you can get to that magic formula, the better. And do it in a way with integrity. But you've got to, the more specific, and the way you get that specificity, let's say weight loss, how to lose weight, really bad headline. Might have worked in the 1920s, when it was like new. So every industry you can start off broad, right? So you can go how to lose weight, and then it's like, then you've got to go, the secret pill that allows you to lose weight. And then people get accustomed to it, and they get like bored of it. And then you've got to drill down more and more and more specific. Because what you want to be talking about is something new, something's exciting. So you go how to lose weight, you've lost them. And apply that to whatever your industry is. I'm just using that as an example because it's very broad. It's broad enough to get an example. But so now it's like, the one thing that can make your nighttime cravings disappear. Just do this at 6 p.m. and your nighttime cravings will absolutely disappear. Who wants to know that? Anyone? So I don't know the answer, but it's but you want to know it, right? You're like, hey, curiosity. And when you're doing, let's say these lead magnets, curiosity is the killer. Four-letter word, which is the best word to use in a headline. And this is from experience of writing. I probably spend about 6 hours a week writing for a company with, they've got a database of like 2 million. They're called Macola. They're the largest natural health company, or the second largest or the largest. They're pretty big in America. But as a result of that, and this isn't from any book I've read or anything like that, what do you think the four-letter word I use more than anything in a headline is? Free? No. What? No. Save? No. Fast? No. I'll give you a hint. It starts with a T. Time? No. Then? No. Starts with a TH. Closer. Pretty close. TH is only two letter words. Not that. No. They? No. This. You get a packet of Tic Tacs. So this, why do you think this is just such a powerful word? Specific. Specific. What it does is specific, and there's something else that makes this just such a good word.
Focuses your view on it and brings it all into this. This is the answer.
Yes, yes. No, that's good. And think about it. This is how, this is the best way to get fit. This is the best way to get fit. This is the easiest way to, shed 6 pounds before Christmas. It's a statement. And have I actually told you anything? Do you want to read more? Do you want to know more? So it builds what killed the cat? Curiosity. So it builds the curiosity. So it builds the curiosity. And I just found I'm using this all the time, and it's just such a powerful word. So when you're doing that, just keep that in mind when you're doing all the lead magnets that Steve was talking about, which I think is on tomorrow. Yeah, the word "this" is going to be really. Think of how you can incorporate that word into your headlines. And while I'm on the topic about headlines, this wasn't even in my presentation, but it's really powerful stuff. There's 4 U's. I think I originally got these from AWAI, which is the copywriting course I did, but I reflect on them whenever I write a headline. I go, can I improve it? Unique, useful, urgent, and ultra-specific. So if we take, let's say, so we got those 4 U's. If we take a phrase like, how to save tax. Okay, so how to save tax. How can we make the phrase, how to save tax, more specific? This is how you save tax? Can we make it even more specific than that? This is how Scott can save tax? So maybe this 6-step plan will save you tax by August or by September. This 6-step checklist is better. This 6-step checklist will save you tax by September. It's like, boom, what's the 6-step checklist? I want to know that. So it's got that specificity that gives it that. So that's is that useful? Well, yeah, it is. Do you know what I mean? Is it ultra specific? Yes, it is. Is it urgent? This 6-step, you could add a sub-headline to that. Or this 6-step plan will save you tax by September, or this 6-step checklist, must be done in the next, 7 days. Now, do you want to know what the 6-step plan is? And are you keen to act on it fast? Yeah, in order to make, and it's not false urgency. It's in order to do it. So you can see how we layer those 4 things onto it, and it gives it more. It gives any headline more punch. So this and the 4 U's: unique, useful, urgent, ultra specific. They'll make anything, your lead magnets, your headlines, anything you do, far more effective as such. Now, what takes someone from the top of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel? When you first meet someone, so let's say you're at a party and you meet someone, how comfortable are you with them? Generally. So it's a little bit awkward. It's not like, hey, Phil, how are you? And you're you're talking about old times, right? It's like, It's all very official and sort of a bit awkward. What about if, if we're in the same club and I see you every week, we're at a football club or a cricket club or whatever, I see you every week and we've met about 6 or 7 times and we're hanging out and we see each other. Is there a greater degree of comfort? So there's a greater degree of comfort, right? So we have this, so we build that degree of comfort over time. And what about if we've known each other since we're at school and we're good friends and all that sort of thing? Trust level higher or lower than the first 2 before? Higher, right? So we've got this trust thing. So the way I like to look at it is if we've got a funnel, if I can borrow someone's funnel. So we got low trust, high trust, highest trust, and then if we do a good job, highest trust. And there's a whole heap, but there really should be a second funnel, right? Because if you flip the funnel, if you do a good job for someone here, you turn I just got a client and they spend, and I'll tell you the funnel I used to get them shortly, but they spend $500,000 a week on advertising. So the initial job is $3,000, right? So if I flip the funnel, there's $3,000 here. But if I do a good job for them, it goes out to there and they become a $500,000 client. And that's obviously my aim. Do you know what I mean? So if you do this part well, so really the funnel should be, we really should design a new funnel. I'm going to copyright this one. See? That's a new funnel. It comes out here, and then each of those little ones expands out and becomes as big as that one. Because if you get clients who are worth $3,000, how many of them do you need? How much marketing do you need to do? Heaps and heaps and heaps. Whereas if you get clients who are worth, $100,000, you need to do a lot less marketing, right? So it's like we almost need a funnel. This one is so important. We all focus on this one because, hey, get more customers, yeah. But if we don't nail that second part, then it's all, it's not as definitely not as effective. So we've got this. So what it is what takes us from one end to the other one is trust. Is trust. The funnel is building trust. Because if we trust someone, I mean that's the way the whole Amway. I'll tell you about that at the end. No, I'm joking. That's the way the whole Amway thing was, right? It's sell to your mum. It's sell to your mum, sell to your dad, sell to your friends, all that sort of thing. Why? Because it was based on the whole trust thing. But what we want to do is we want to move that thing to as close as possible in an automated way using resources such as Ontraport and that sort of thing. So where we're building that trust with more people. Because there's only so many phone calls you can make in a day, whereas you can be sending emails to like 10,000 people at once and building that trust and building that relationship. And that's really what we want to be, what we want to focus on, focus on doing. So there's a number of funnels which we can use. 8 types of funnels. I mean, there's more than this, but this is a list which I came out with. Now, we're obviously familiar with the free report / free video funnel. I'm sure everyone's sort of familiar with that. Now, don't think it always needs to be a free report. Okay, now if you're better with video, and this is something I picked up with from Todd Brown has a program called the Six-Figure Funnel Formula, I think it's called. But if you're better with video, do it directly to a video. Because, okay, let's say I've got the in-ground toenail cure. I say free. Do you care if it says free report or free video reveals the in-ground toenail cure? Who's going to go, oh, it's a video. I don't do video. I only do report. No one, right? That's not going to hold you back. You want to know the content. So how quickly can you get on video and say, hey, this is the in-ground toenail cure, and what you do is you put a bit of this cream on, and then within 30 minutes all the pain should disappear. Okay, so that's probably easier for most people. Hands up, who finds it easier to do a video than they would to sit down and write a report? Okay. And what's the benefit of doing a video is what can you quite easily offer at the end of that? Well, you can offer a report. Let's take a few businesses. What sort of businesses do we have here? So we've got. We'll go around the room. Sort of business. Carpentry, right? Paintball. Mortgage broking. HR. And accounting and financial planning. Yep. A program for businesses. Yep. Barter card, yep. Charity. Annexes and shades. Excellent, yep, yeah. And digital marketing. Okay, perfect. And we've got education. How are you? Yeah, so we've got a range of different businesses, right? But let's say if we're in the HR thing, what is something you could tell me like really quickly where I would just go, wow, that's incredible?
A checklist of things you need to know before you employ your first person.
Okay, perfect. What about, rather than a checklist, what about just one thing? What's the one thing I should know before I employ my first person? Yeah. Yes, so being really clear. What's the biggest mistake you've seen someone make when they hire someone?
Not recruiting properly and doing a thorough process, not checking references, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And not really considering that they may not be good people for the business because their values aren't aligned.
Values alignment, right? Okay, so let's say we do, rather than a report, which you can do a report as well, it doesn't, not either way is fine. But rather than doing that, you could say the number one mistake people make when they hire. Free video, the number one mistake people make when they hire, that they regret, fix it in 7 minutes. Right? So then what I do is I go, oh, I want to know that, free video. Could you talk about that for 3 minutes about the importance of values and how that affects things in the end? Could you talk about that for 3 or 4 minutes and give me some like solid value where I go, hey, wow, that's really cool. So you could talk about that, right? And you could probably bullet point it beforehand into like 3 or 4 points and then just go blah, and get someone to video it and you're done. Right? So then you do, and then at the end of it, could you say to me, could you add on the end of it, by the way, if you'd like a consultation with me about your HR, to find out, that's just one of 7 points, of the 7 main points. If you'd like a consultation where I can walk you through the whole checklist, just fill out the form on the right and we'll be in touch with you. Okay, so quite simple, right? And it takes down that laborious process of creating that report. I'm a writer, so it's less laborious for me, but even as a writer, it's still more laborious than just talking. Do you know what I mean? Like, for me to talk what I'm talking now, let's say I'm doing a 75-minute talk, I can do about 150 words a minute. I can probably do a few more, but let's say 150 to 180 words a minute. That's like 150 times 60 is about 9,000. Let's just say 60. I mean, I can write maybe 1,000 words an hour if I'm tracking really well. So that's still going to take 9 hours to deliver what I'm delivering here. And yeah, it might be a bit more finessed, it might be a bit more this and that, but the opportunity cost of 9 hours versus just punching it out. So just consider, you might want to consider doing it via video and just going bang, bang, bang. Now, I'm also going to hand out I've got some Lego, and I'm just going to put some Lego on everyone's desk because I just thought about it. Now, who knows what I'm doing handing out Lego? Does anyone want to take a guess? Making us interact, yeah? We've got some Lego. I'll put that one there. So I'm making us interact. Maybe. Anyone else want to have a guess? Courage to build things? It's none of those things. What I'm doing is I'm creating what's called an open loop. Has anyone ever heard of an open loop? So it's an NLP term where I talk about something and I make you curious about what it is, and then I forget about it. And I say, I'm going to come back to that later. And what you'll find if you do this in your sales copy is you create open loops. So you say something like, in a moment, I'm going to tell you what the number one secret is to hiring people, or to, with the carpentry, to building, a great deck or whatever it is. I'm going to show you what it is, but first let me tell you about this. So we will come back to the Lego later. Who's curious to know what the Lego means? So it works, right? So we've got so that's a free report, free video. I think a few things to discover there, or to consider there. The next thing we've got is survey funnels. I think I've got an example here. Let me just see here we go. So here's a simple example of for some reason, everything's gotten way bigger on this screen. I'm not sure how to... Control minus. No, okay. What you're going to see, if you could see the screen properly, it would ask for first name, your email, your age, and this is by a guy called Ryan Levesque, who wrote the Ask book, which is a really good book on survey funnels, which if you get that, it'll go into it in more details. But then it's a memory course, so it asks, are you a student? Yeah, if not, are you studying something? And he's also asked the age. Now, what does this allow him to do when it comes to memory? And let me ask you a question. Accounting. Would you want to talk to, if I'm a startup business versus if I'm a $50 million business, would you talk to me differently? Okay, if I get an email from you and you're talking to me as a startup and I'm a $50 million business, what am I going to think? I'm going to think delete, right? I'm going to think, well, what's the point of this? There's no use to it. So when we do that, we're customizing the message, to our individual prospects. So, likewise, with many businesses, you're going to have different subsets of that. So what we can do with the survey funnel sort of process is we can very simply ask those questions. In this example, who thinks a 77-year-old, or maybe let's say a 63-year-old, who's got a job but is losing their memory and is worried that someone's going to find out and fire them, and they don't have a lot of money saved up, is in a different mindset than a 21-year-old student who wants to get better grades so they can pass university? Who thinks if we communicate to the 63-year-old the same way we communicate to the 21-year-old, we're going to lose them? True? So what we've got is, if we use these sort of survey funnels, which is something you may want to consider, we can target them on an individualized basis, and we can break up those groups. Now, if we look here, if you have an email list, This is a very simple one to do. This is one I sent out recently for a client. Who can read that? Can anyone read it? It's readable. Yep. So it's sort of like, I need your help. I'm going to be doing a fun little experiment. Start writing about topics and answering people specifically ask me about what it comes to, in this case, shedding those excess pounds, but you just replace it with whatever your industry is or whatever the challenge with your industry is. So, simple, right? All you need to do is fill out this questionnaire, and then it goes into a bit more detail. A bit more sort of the warm and fuzzy. But the essence of it is we want to know what their biggest challenge is, what their biggest weight loss challenge is right now. Okay, so yours, it might be something else. In terms of what you would ask. So, what would you ask? No. If it was for your business.
What they were looking at doing, I suppose, whether I could cater to suit their needs, whether it was too big a job for me or more.
Yeah, so if they're, let's say, on your email list, like if you've got an email list and they've inquired before, you might even ask, and they haven't built, right? Because they're on your email list. You could ask, what's the number one concern about choosing a builder? Do you know what I mean? So, and then you're going to find out what's really going on in people's head, because often they're not even going to tell you face to face. Do you know what I mean? They just go, oh, nah, but there's something going on in the back of their head as to why they're not going ahead now, sort of thing. So if we break that down, and then there's other questions there, like in this case, are you a man or a woman? Very simple. Roughly how much weight do you want to lose? Which of the following best describes you? What have you tried in the past? And then I may follow up, with a handful of people. If you'd like to be contacted, let us know. Okay, and this allows that sort of customization, because what we're going to do, what happens here, is we find out what the frustrations are, and this is the number one question, which is why we've got it first. What's your single biggest challenge right now? Well, as social media, what could you ask?
And you could probably make it a drop down, like, is it creating content, is it finding time, or is it the technical stuff? Like, you could sort of narrow it down so that you can get a massive broad range of answers.
Yeah, do you just do primarily social media? So digital marketing. So it could even be, what is your biggest challenge with digital marketing right now? And then people are going to say, I know what to do. Like, I don't know what people will say, but let's say they'll say, I know there's a big thing, I know what to do, but I just can't get it done. Because it's all fiddly and messy, and it's, you know what I mean? Like this.
Know what to do, haven't got the time, know what to do, don't have the technical skills, don't understand it at all, like, those sorts of things.
Yes, no, perfect. So you get all these. So what you do is you get all these questions, and you go, oh, that's like interesting. But what you'll notice if you look into those questions and you break it down, is that there's going to be like it might not quite be 80-20, but there'll be a lot of people concerned about one thing. Which, when you break it down, who has an email list here? Okay, so most people, or a lot of people? Yeah, no, that's good. So when you break it down in the email list, let's say the biggest question is people don't have the time. So what is your headline become? How to implement everything in social media without, with a simple, with a pen and paper and a flowchart. You sketch out whatever you want on social media to happen, and we will make it happen. And we will sit there and we'll sketch it out for you, with you, and then we'll make it out happen. You don't even need a computer. You do not need a computer to make $100,000 a year in social media. Is anyone interested in that one? Like to not need a computer? So you can, if you can break that down and see how we've sort of made it a bit metaphoric there. You don't even need a computer. You can do it, and it's done. So you find out that the time is the issue, yeah, and then you might have no time, no time. I don't know what was the other one you mentioned?
Probably the computer thing that you just said, so they don't want to sit behind a computer doing social media, so no time, the technology side of it, and don't know what to say, do, put out there for their business.
Yes, yes. So as simple as you could have an opt-in form, and then you could have what's your biggest challenge, no time, technology, or whatever. They tick on one, and then you can sort of customize it to them. And you could also ask, are they a 1 to 5 business staff, or are they a 5 to 50, or are they 50 plus, or whatever? And then you can look at customizing it to their specific issues. So that's a survey funnel. Now, yep. Oh, they're going to solve their problem. Do you know what I mean? So that's why they would fill it out.
They've received an email that says that you need their help.
Yes.
Enough for them to fill out their, because most people don't know it's time to, move on next email. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you need to give them an incentive?
Not everyone will fill it out, obviously. Like, not everyone's going to fill it out. The problem with giving them an incentive is you can give an incentive. My challenge with giving an incentive is you're probably going to get the wrong type of results, so they're going to be more skewed. Do you know what I mean? Like, people might just tick it so they can get, like if you're offered a free car, I'm sure you fill out the survey, right? But you're not that into it. Do you know what I mean? So you're probably not going to leave proper results, sort of thing. So I would encourage, if you can't get the results and you've got a small list, you could say, hey, if you fill it out, I'm going to give you this, this report or this or that or whatever. So, but I would test it first with no incentive. And it depends on, in terms of responses, it depends on how close your bond is with your list. So if you're giving them good content, it's a whole reciprocity thing, which Steve was talking about before. If you give, they'll want to give back. So that's really what it boils down to. So now if we look at that, there's also, I was writing the webinar funnel. Now, from this survey funnel, I then created, because you know how we said how to lose weight? We worked out that most of the people in this list were women over 35 who had issues with cravings. So it's very simple. Free webinar for women over 35 only. Flick the craving switch. Bang. So, and then this is taken directly from what they told us. If you know what you're meant to eat but can't turn off the switch, and notice a metaphor, like turn off the switch, so it makes it real. It sounds a lot better than, but you can't stop yourself or whatever. So you can't, and avoid fatty, salty or sweet foods, particularly when you're tired or stressed. Your tummy and thighs will cry with delight when you attend this event. Yeah. So it actually did go on. It went on, I don't know, it was about a month or so. And it did quite well. Like, they sold it out, and they had 100 or so people turn up on the webinar and a number of registrants. But can you see how that grabs your attention? Now, if I said, a webinar shows you how to lose weight, who's rocking up to that webinar? You're like, nah. What about if I said, let's look at the world of internet marketing. What if I said, how to do internet marketing? Who's excited about that? Not really, right? If I did that 15 years ago, I could have filled out a seminar room with that. Do you know what I mean? But again, the level of awareness of people goes up. How to do internet marketing is like really nothing. And it's like, so you always want to be thinking of what's new, what's hot, what's hip, because that's what we want, that's where we want to be. Oh, there's a really cool strategy. You guys are going to be amazed when I tell you about this. It's called Google AdWords. Awesome. Who thinks that I'm really on the cutting edge right now? Whereas if I said it 10 years ago, it's like, oh, what's that? So the level of awareness goes up. Whereas talking about Facebook probably 1 or 2 years ago is hot. Talking about funnels is relatively hot now. You know, so and it also depends on the level of awareness. Like if you're up against the higher the level of awareness of your target market, the more sort of detailed or niched or focused that you need to go. So so then if you look at this, and this is very simple for a webinar funnel. Free webinar ad on Facebook. Flick the craving switch or whatever for your target market. And then we go, we take this from the from the subject line, from the survey. We since you turned 35, have you noticed saying no to chips, chocolate, ice cream, biscuits, and other junk food has become almost impossible? I would not have known this for sure until I looked at the survey. Of course you know what to eat, but when the urge takes over, despite the fact you know it's destroying your dreams of toning your tummy, slimming your thighs and getting your old body back, you simply can't resist. This webinar is going to explain not only why this is happening, but precisely what to do to turn the over 35's craving switch off. Notice it's the over 35's craving switch. Do you know what I mean? It's specific. You got that specificity. And then the bullets, they're all based off the survey data. And you will just write such better ads if you get that survey data. Such better funnels, such better reports. It's a foundation. You lay a house, you lay a slab, right? You don't just start throwing bricks on. Yet when most people write, they just go chuck the bricks on and then hope for the best. The majority of the work is done in the laying of the slab. If you spend 40% of your time on research, when you build these funnels, they're just going to be so much better. 40% research, 40% actually writing it, 20% editing from the copy perspective, and then you've got all the techie stuff. And all you need to do is go over here for the techie stuff, hand them a piece of paper, and they'll make it all happen. Okay, so that's the that's the focus. So let's so we got the webinar funnel, then the video retargeting funnel. I've got a friend, and I think he did this to me, and I was getting so annoyed. We've got a mutual friend, Steve. I actually had to shut down my Facebook news feed so I would stop seeing him. Yeah, that's right. He was everywhere. He was on my Facebook news feed, and it's just like, oh, geez, So. Yeah. I see you enough face to face. I don't need to see you on my Facebook feed. So, yeah. So, and this video retargeting. So the way it works in a very brief summary, and there's more complexity to it than this, obviously. But is if you watch a video, it pixels you. Everyone's familiar with pixels. Pixels, yeah. So what pixels are is they basically if you go to a website, the website then retargets you, puts pixels and retargets you, and then you see their ads everywhere, basically. But with the video retargeting, you can put a video up. Like let's say your video on the one secret, for hiring. So you can put that video up. It doesn't even need to be an opt-in. I watch that video, and then you have an ad taking me to stage 2. Yeah, and I can be seeing you everywhere, and then you move to the opt-in. So first you add value, and then you bring people into the opt-in. And if you do that, I have found it was interesting. I went through my numbers. This was probably 2 years ago, and I worked out that if someone came through a squeeze page and they opted in, versus if they came through the blog, I can't remember the exact numbers now, but it was astronomically more. If they came through the blog and they opted in, the chance of them becoming a customer and the value was just so much higher than if they went to a squeeze page. And that's where knowing your numbers is really critical. And most people won't do the work to actually grasp their numbers. So that's something which is really critical. But with the video retargeting, you can actually show them videos. Because let's say I walk up to, let's say I walk up to you now, or not now. Let's say I walked up to you before, at lunch, and you didn't know me, I said, "Hi, I'm Scott, and I want to sell you something." What's going to be your reaction? You're going to be like, hang on, what's going on here? Do you know what I mean? Whereas what if, we went out for a couple of coffees, we caught up, and then I said, oh yeah, there's this really cool thing. And you said, what is it? You're going to be far more open to it, right? Yeah, because everything online, to understand it, take an offline twist to it. Do you know what I mean? Take an offline twist to it. So if you look at Facebook ads, all the little groups and all that sort of thing, all it is what media managers used to do when they were advertising in 60 different publications. Now we've got a publication for 35 to 40-year-old women who love snorkeling. Bang. That's one ad set of the campaign. We've got another one for 20 to 25-year-old men who love, who are really into paintball. Bang, that's another advert. And there's trade magazines which do that. Yeah, there's trade magazines. I'm sure there's trade magazines on paintball, right? So you see each ad set as an actual trade magazine, and I found that was much easier to understand. And that's why Facebook's such a big job to do it properly, because you can imagine if you're advertising in 60 different publications and trying to work out what's working and what's not, it's a big job. Do you know what I mean? It's a big job. But to maximise it, that's what you need to do. That's what the best of the best are sort of doing. So if we look at the video retargeting, that's the way it works. Another one is a free plus shipping funnel. If you've got something to offer, I'm not sure how relevant. Has anyone here written a book, or have like a low-end product they could sell? If you did, I won't talk too much about that, but basically that works is you have like 10 minutes. I mean, you have I don't know. I have no idea why I said that. It's like the brain sort of that. But the way that works is basically if you've got a book, you say, hey, it's $10 for the book, and then people pay you, and they go into your funnel sort of thing. So the multi-step video funnel, which is basically video. They opt in, and then you send them 3 or 4 videos, and then you move that towards a sales pitch. Now the LinkedIn funnel, this is how I got the client I was talking about before, and it's something we're doing quite a bit of at the moment. I'll just see if I can actually bring this stuff out. So LinkedIn is perfect for many business to business. So like HR, accounting, perfect. Social media, it's really the sweet spot, because I can go in and I want to target CEOs of companies that have 50 plus staff, that are in the health industry, that are based in America, and I can go boom, and I can get in touch with them. So what you do is you send them a little message, hey, would love to connect, you have a little message. And I've found that about 40% of people will say, yep, and they'll connect. Do you know what I mean? So these are high level. And again, this is a funnel. It is a funnel. We're going from the top to the bottom. It's not your traditional internet marketing funnel, but we're going from cold to warm. Is basically what we're taking them. So then we identify the target market, we connect with them, we get our profile, so it's specifically designed to that target market. Our profile just hits them between the eyeballs. So there's a lot of things that I do, but this particular profile on LinkedIn is very focused on the health and wellness market. Do you know what I mean? So and it talks specifically to that target market, and they're the people I'm targeting. So that when they get there, the guy I sent him no promotion. All I said was, hey, great to connect. Let me know if I can help in any way, or I can introduce you to anyone in my network. Bang. That was it. And then he came back, and the job came through that. But what you do is you have anyone heard of Gary Vaynerchuk? Jab, 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 right hook. Okay, so it's jab, hey, here's an example of how you can do this, and you send them a case study or something like that. Case study's perfect because social proof. Then you give another jab. Could be the same, could be another case study or another example addressing their issues. Another jab, and then the right hook. And the right hook is, hey, let's connect. I sent that to 10 people. One said, yeah, we'd love to connect. We're still going back and forth. We haven't connected, but it's a very, very effective way of doing things if you're after people at the high level market. So definitely something to consider. And then the launch to funnel. If you've got an email list, and I know a lot of people have got an email list now, start with a launch. Same as if you're advertising in Facebook, start with advertising to your custom audience. Because who's more likely to buy from you? Someone who's never heard from you or your mum? Your mum, right? If you can't get your mum to buy from you, how's anyone else going to buy from you, right? So you do a launch to your current list. You've got a new product, a new promotion, push it out to your current list. If they respond, then turn it into a funnel, because you can save yourself a lot of time by doing that, and you learn along the way from your current list. So if you want to do a webinar, you could do that. You could have a webinar running, 24, 48 hours after you thought about it. If you want to run a webinar, do a promotion the day before, run the webinar. It's literally 2 emails and a webinar. Bang. You can put people on a webinar. Do it to your own list. If it works, turn it into a funnel. Don't go funnel where you've got to spend $1,000 on advertising to put people in and find out it doesn't work, when you can just send out a couple of emails to your own list. So that's the launch to funnel. So the goal of a funnel, make $1 back for $1 spent as quickly as possible, is essentially what we want to do. $1. Why is that important? Why is that so critical if you can do that? If you've got a systemized business. How quickly can you scale if you get $1 back for every $1 spent? Like if I can guarantee you, if you give me $10,000, I'll give it straight back to you. Are you going to give me the $10,000 and I'll give you 100 new customers? What about $1 million? Would you give me $1 million? I'll give it straight back to you. Literally like that. And I'll put 500 new customers who will keep paying you. There's no limit, right? It gets unlimited. Now, it's not as easy as that. I wish it was. It's not as easy as that, obviously. You've got to know your numbers. You've really got to know your numbers at each different element and stage of the process. For example, Nick, you've got an example where you were doing all this testing. Nick's a mathematician, so he's very, very smart, cluey with all this sort of stuff. And we've been working on a few things together. But Nick, what did you find? iPads, you did some beauty stuff? iPad. All the sales came from iPad 3s. And how much, what percentage of your spend was coming from people who weren't iPad 3s initially? 80%. So let's say you're spending $10,000. You can cut your ad spend down to $2,000 and make the same amount of money. And if he didn't go into that data, would he know that? He'd have no idea, right? If he didn't know that it was iPad 3s, who would have guessed that? Who would have gone, of course. Beauty products, iPad 3s, makes total sense. You know what I mean? like it makes no sense. But when you get down to it, I've recently been doing some Facebook testing, would not convert at all it was for a builder, it wouldn't convert at all for the mainstream, like for the Facebook newsfeed, but it would for on the desktop, but it would for the mobile. Converted beautifully for the mobile, not for the desktop. Would anyone have guessed that? No. So the more you can dig into your numbers and really know them and test different things, the more effective it is. And it won't always work the first time. And that's why, who gets a bit overwhelmed when they think of a funnel? Like, how the heck am I going to ever get time to do this? Yeah? I think there's a few people who are like, oh, and even if you don't think, how the heck do I ever, do you ever think like, oh, it'll happen, but it'll happen one day? That's where the Lego comes in. So if we get the Lego, put one piece of Lego on top of the other. Let's do one. Okay, so we've got two. Was that hard to just go like that? And then put another one on. And then put another one on. And then put another one on. Is it hard to do it? Now let me tell you, is there any pain in not building a house straight away with Lego? Like in not having this beautiful big, have you seen some of the Lego things? You make amazing things with Lego. But how does it start? One piece goes to another, right? And the way to look at funnels, if you can't get someone to opt in to your special report, like let's say what I do is a total flop, that idea I had about the values-based thing, if you can't get someone to opt in, is the next stage going to work? Or the next stage? So all you need to do, add opt-in. Oh, we converted at 20%, or whatever it was. We converted at 40%. We converted at what? Oh, this has some legs. Let's add the next thing. Let's add the upsell on there. Oh, that converted. Let's add the next one. Let's add the next one. One piece of Lego, two pieces of Lego, three pieces of Lego, four pieces of Lego. But it can start with two. There's an interesting book called The Lean Startup, and they talk about the minimum viable product. What we're looking at is we're looking at the minimum viable marketing system. So when you think of your funnel, free report or free video and landing page is all you need to start with. You don't need to build out this whole elaborate process as such. So, and that is the, it's a start small. It's like building a house with Lego. So in the next session, what we're going to do is we're going to get busy and look at implementing all this stuff. So we want to really sort of brainstorm, and I want to deep dive into a number of different businesses with your permission, because this will make it more real. Because often we can get lost in the theory, but we want to really bring this home and make it very, very real and very, 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 very applicable. So as you're sitting there, think about, what can we do to really think about in the next session which the funnels might work for you, or how this could apply for you, and just let your subconscious mind go to work on how you can actually make this work. And also take a moment to just see what your perfect funnel actually looks like. To actually imagine it all built out and the benefits that you will get from actually building a really solid funnel that brings in leads week in, week out, month in, month out. Just quickly before we wrap up, just a few comments. Main thing from this table, main thing you got out of this session? Yes, survey, yep. You remembered them. Well done, yeah, no, excellent. This one?
I like the 4 years as well, and
Yes. This is and notice how even if I was to say that in an ad, the four-letter word you should always use in your headlines. It's like, oh, what is it? So it would even make a good lead magnet. I might do that. And over here? Open loops. Yes, excellent. And when I brought the Lego back up, was everyone like, it's like, oh yeah, the Lego. So excellent. And over here? It's all right. We'll and Nick, the use, excellent. So we'll wrap up now. I'll hand you back to Steve, and we'll be back for another session shortly.